Dave, you've really got to stop calling this number, mate. Look, I've made my decision. I've left. It doesn't matter how many YouTube comments you leave saying, go back to Boston. No, not happening. Not happening. And yeah, you might want to tell Quanta to pack his bags because, yeah, well, I'd like to sign him, please.
I'll probably get 20 years.
Yeah, well, we can talk more about it later.
Sorry, dude, I saw it first.
Right, look, I really need to get going. I've just got off the training ground and we're not fully staffed yet.
It's everyone pretty productive too.
Oh, what? So you heard about the Joaquin thing too?
I don't know.
Look, I didn't see the bit where it said he needed a work permit, okay? Like, yeah, did you leave... You left a comment about that too, didn't you?
Nope.
You did.
Nope.
Look, so I've got a replacement, I've got a plan B, it's going to be fine. I think they're here, actually, so I'm gonna... my doorbell's just... I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to... Right, look, take care, Dave, take care. Come in. What are you doing? Why are you dressed? You're not playing. Look, you're in your 40s. You're not playing, Peter. Look, can you crouch down or something? You can't crouch. Look, go get changed. Go get changed. Yeah, we don't need you playing, mate. We just don't need you playing. Peter, crouch, everyone. Oh, he thought he was going to play. No, he's my assistant. You're my assistant, Peter. What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 2 of Park to Prem here with Lincoln City. It's been a busy month, everyone. It's the end of January, and today we have a game against Doncaster, a chance perhaps to move into the playoffs, to start to achieve the ambitions that were set before me. But yes, as I've already alluded to, it's been a busy January, both with transfers in and a few out, including, and we might as well talk about this now, Kamil Miazek, the first casualty of Brexit during my Football Manager 21 kind of Let's Plays. Yeah, he didn't get a work permit in January, the requirements reset, and his contract was expiring. He didn't want to sign a new deal with me. He's now decided he's going to go and play for Olympiacos at the end of the season, so yeah, that star goalkeeper, the one that we bigged up, gone. So, yeah, well, welcome to Brexit, everyone. This is going to be an ongoing effect that we feel. But the good news is I've been able to do some transfer business. Of course, we all had all this money in the bank. And alongside Miazek, I loaned out a few players, sold a few players as well who I just felt like were scrap. And on the ins, we've signed some familiar faces. Look at these signings. I have made 9 signings since I've joined. It's been a bit of a busy January and plenty of familiar faces. Not just from Boston, but from other Let's Plays that we've done. So let's talk about them. So my first signing ever is Paul Glatzel, a player who I had during my LAN Let's Play a few years ago in Northern Ireland. He's very, very good. He was released by Liverpool at the end of the year. He was kicking around and looking for a club. And one of the big problem areas that I'd identified here at Lincoln was we just didn't have enough attacking players of quality. We had some players who I felt like were just kind of in the team out of pity. Now, unfortunately for us, in 5 games, he's not scored yet, which is perhaps a little bit concerning, but he's walked into the team and straight away become the key player. Sadly, he's out injured, so he's not going to make his live com debut today. But I think when you look at him, it's kind of obvious what he has. He's quick, but he can also finish, and he's got some really, really good potential. My scouts were saying championship potential. Whether or not that is or isn't the case, I suppose remains to be seen. Another player we brought in on the 5th of January was Jamie Cumming. Let's not make jokes about his name. Look, when I lost Miazek, we needed a goalkeeper, and I was kind of looking around all the Premier League teams for players released from Premier League teams in the summer who still didn't have clubs. This guy came onto my radar. He is an incredible goalkeeper for this level. We're not paying him a small amount of money by any means. You can see last year he was on loan in League 2 where he played for struggling Oldham. Well, as for what I'm hoping from him for us, a much better performance, more clean sheets, and hopefully he is going to make up for the man that we've lost, because Miazek was considered the key player at the team. I don't think there's a world of difference between the two, so yeah, Jamie, I'm optimistic, I'm hopeful. We'll have to see how he gets on in goal. Anyway, we move on to some familiar faces here, and you will notice that I've spent almost £1 million on Boston United players, and I've brought in a trio of them. The first we've got in is YOLO. The reason for bringing this guy in is that When I was at Boston, he was the player who was deemed to have the most potential in the eyes of our staff. I think he's a really good centre mid. We didn't really have too many playmaker-y type players, and at 17 years old, loads of room to grow, loads of room to improve. And I think for the price that we've paid, whilst it is slightly more than the £450 that I originally forked out for him, for a player who got 7 assists in 14 games at the age of 17, I can justify paying £200,000. Anyway, the next player we've picked up just one day later was Quansah. As alluded to in the intro, I wanted this guy. We've got this guy. He's got 2 goals in 3 games already. So that board vision and kind of aim of, hey, make the most of set pieces. Looks like Jarrell's going to do the business for us. We've got him in. It was not a small fee paid. £450,000 is pretty huge. But if he can put in anything like the numbers he was putting in at Boston United under me, it's going to be a really, really good signing. Anyway, we then signed Taylor Richards, who was formerly at Man City, I want to say. Was it Man? It was Man City. Actually, no, Brighton. He was homegrown at Man City from previous years. He was released from Brighton. For us, he's going to be a good little centre mid, but as you can see here, he can play a whole host of positions. I talked about it last episode. Didn't have any left wingers. This guy's left-footed, and he can play left attacking mid. And whilst he's perhaps not the out-and-out winger type, I think at 23 years old, he's just a step above what, was in the club already, and it's a good bit of an improvement on a free transfer. I mean, that's the thing, right? When you're bringing in players on frees, you can afford to be perhaps a little bit more punty with them, take a few more risks. We'll have to see if it pays off in the case of Richards. The last Boston player we've picked up is Mark Cooper. Similarly to Yolo, just had incredible potential. The board liked him a lot. The staff liked him a lot. I like him a lot. And whilst he didn't really set the house on fire over at Boston United, I think for under £200,000, he's a really good young striker with a lot of potential to bring in. Let's hope that those physicals are going to start to improve at some time soon. Otherwise, this might turn into a bit of a flop. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, he is going to become the impact sub that I thought he'd be at Boston here at Lincoln. Anyway, 3 further signings, one of which was another striker, and that is Josh Thomas. I think this might be the second loan signing I've made during the last 4 years of this career mode. He's a really good striker, on loan from Swansea. To be honest, I wanted to buy him, but they were asking for £1 million, and that was far too much. But for us, I think he's going to be a fantastic little pressing forward, similar to Glatzel, just a lot better rounded than a lot of the other players that we have. I don't mean any disrespect to Fowl, and as you'll see when we get into today's episode and the highlights of the matches, he's been scoring a lot. The one-dimensionality that he has, I'm not going to be able to get over it. I'm not going to be able to look beyond it, and as long as he keeps scoring goals, it's great. But longer term, this is not sustainable as our source of goals, I'm sorry to say. So I'm hoping that between the young strikers we're bringing in, 1 or 2 of them are going to help out Fal and chip in with some goals. Anyway, a couple more signings. Ben Jackson adds some more strength on the left-hand side. Talked about it last episode. We didn't have anyone on the left, so Ben Jackson comes in. He can play left mid, he can play left back. Added bonus, he can play centre back and centre mid as well. Always useful for a kind of rotation bench option. And last but not least, a player who I think I signed at Towlaw and was a bit of a flop. We've got in Jake Forster-Kasky, who is a really, really good centre mid. A player who has had a lot of issues with injuries in his career. The good news is for us, he's not had too many over the last few years of his career, although he's not been playing too much. Last year, you can see he played 39 games for Charlton, got 13 assists in League One, but was released. We've brought him in. For us, I think he's going to be a little bit of a squad player option, the kind of man who can fill in if players just aren't performing to their correct level. But as far as kind of deeper line playmakers go, he's pretty blooming good. So anyway, that's what we've done in terms of transfer business. In terms of how we're actually lining up, this is kind of the shape that I've started playing now. We've got rid of the wingers on attack that start deeper. They're now on support but playing higher up the pitch. And in the centre of midfield, I've actually switched up some player roles. We're going to play with a deep line playmaker and a box-to-box midfielder. I'm a little bit worried this might leave us open at the back. Maybe the deep line playmaker needs to go on to defend. But in terms of facilitating our best talent, it was the best move for us. We have Finney, who is a really, really good playmaker for this level, who has impressed me so far. He's put in some good performances in the last 5 games, 2 goals, 2 assists. He's looked good. And alongside him, White is a really good box-to-box player, but who does have some defensive instincts. Originally, I was playing White as a centre mid on defend, but he has the player traits, gets forward whenever possible. So despite how good he is defensively, He likes to wander, and so with that in mind, it wasn't really the correct move. I didn't think to make him the man responsible for all the defending. I'm hoping that with these two supportive roles, they're going to have a bit of common sense between them, that, that they can pivot around one another, and one will stay back when the other goes forward. But so far, on the pitch, things have looked pretty good. Of course, last episode we beat Northampton, who were on a crazy unbeaten run at home. It was something like 12 games without defeat. We beat them relatively convincingly in the end, and you can see over the course of the last month and a bit, we've played 8 matches, all in the league, and done pretty well. We started off our home form under my leadership with a win against Leyton Orient. The first goal in this game came just before half-time. It was courtesy of Isaac. 2 goals in 2 games. He's looked pretty good so far, not a bad little finish. And then following on from that, Thal scored in the second half as Leyton Orient pushed to get back into the game. His pace punished them. I'll tell you what, you're going to see with some of the goals he scored, very blooming quick. I can see why he's the top goal scorer in the league this year. Anyway, we then beat Wrexham at home, which was a nice little result. Of course, they were promoted from the National League last year, where we were with Boston. And unfortunately for us, after a 4-game winning run, I was hoping to end the month of December unbeaten. Morecambe, they had other ideas. They scored some really nice goals in this game, and just as I was kind of feeling good, feeling like we were properly getting it together, it slowly but surely slipped away. 2 goals before half-time in the space of 3 minutes really hurt, and as we pushed forward late on in the game, trying to get a desperate goal to get back into it, Freddie Price scored the goal of the match. It was an insane long shot into the back of the net. It went, and with that went our momentum, because in the very next game we played Mansfield, and we lost for a second game in a row. So, first 5 games in charge, 3 wins, 2 defeats. Felt a little bit average, I suppose. The good news is that from there we have kicked on and we've not lost since. We beat Salford 2-0, again Finney and Thal with the goals in this one. Against Barrow we drew 1-1, Finney with another goal in this game, the deep line playmaker, just doing the business for us. He's looks solid so far. I'm a fan of Finney. The Finney fan club, that just... Be careful how quickly you say that, everyone. It could come out something different. After that, we took on Southend. We won this one 3-1. Mamadou Fall. Let's just talk about. He's quick. I don't know if I've mentioned it. He's fast. Look at these goals. 2 before half-time against Southend, and they just didn't know what had hit them. I felt a bit bad, really, for Southend, because they are struggling down the bottom of the table, but avid Lincoln fans will know that they once upon a time lost a playoff final in League 2 to Southend, so I'm sure that this is kind of revenge. I'm not sure if this really makes up for a playoff defeat over a decade ago, but it did to me in the second half. Jarrell Quanta scored. Unfortunately, they did get one late on. The clean sheet lost, and off the back of that, we went into a game against Scunthorpe, which wasn't very good by comparison. We were 2 goals down after 26 minutes. They scored 2 goals within the space of 2 minutes. We have a weird habit of scoring goals close together, but also conceding goals close together. I think we need to work on our mental fortitude. So at the break, we were down 2. I got shouty. Quansah, what a player. 2 goals in 2 games. He scored a very similar goal to the one in the Southend game against Scunthorpe. And late on, Olamola stepped up for a penalty, tucked it away, 2-2 it finished. I was left a happy bunny. Now, that game was only 3 days ago, so there's not been a whole lot of recovery time here. It's been quite an intense schedule over the December and January period. In terms of how the league table looks, right now we are up in 9th. We've gained, I think, a couple of positions since I've taken over, but our eye is firmly fixed on the prize of the playoffs. That's where we want to be at the end of the season. That's where the board expect us to be. And a win here against Doncaster would put us in a really good position to do just that with 14 games remaining of the season. You can see here, Thal is still the top goal scorer in the team. In terms of top performers since I've taken over, it's Thal. Be shocked. It's Thal, everyone. He's really, really good. Elsewhere, I've already talked about him, but Finney, I'm just going to keep looking. He looks so happy. He makes me feel happy. He's been top draw. And Taylor Richards actually has played quite well in a couple of games. He's got 1 assist to his name in 2 appearances. Mentioned the fact he is perhaps a little bit of a punt. So far he's looked pretty good. And for today's game, he's going to be playing out on the left-hand side. And this is how we line up. So we've got Cumming in goal. In the defence, we've got Addons at right back. Now, Addams wouldn't normally be our right back, but we've got a few injuries. Mo Addams, he's like the League 2 James Milner. He kind of just fills in everywhere. He was actually getting paid a lot of money and his contract was expiring at the end of the year. He's accepted taking a pay cut. So I'm already a fan of Mo. Love our Mo. He's going to be playing at right back today, where he did play last game not very well. So keep an eye on that. Quansah, of course, at centre-back alongside Cons, our captain. Ruffin at left-back holds down his spot. He's not wowed so far, but he's kind of just existed. In the midfield, we've got White and Finney. Out on the left, we've got Richards. Out on the right, we've got Olamola. This is where things get confusing. We've got Olamola, and we've also got... and I better be able to find them now. We've got Olamola and we've got Ola Ofe. It gets very confusing with Olo and Ola. I think I might just nickname them Olo and Ola. They play because they both play on the right wing and at striker. I'm gonna be honest, whenever they get the ball, I get confused as to which one's which. I'm not sure if nicknaming them Olo and Ola is really going to help. I'll just call you Isaac. It's going to be easier for all of us involved. Either way, up front for today's game, unfortunately, with Glatzel out injured, we are going to start Farl, and we're going to give the nod to Thomas, the loanee in from Swansea. On the bench, we've got Yolo and Cooper, of course, alongside Forster Kasky, who, of course, we signed. Bajrami, who was the starting centre-back prior to Quansah, also drops to the bench, but is a very, very good option. And to be fair, I think when you look at the squad now compared to the one we had, we're in a much better spot. You might have noticed that I signed a lot of players and didn't necessarily get rid of a lot of players. So if we just take a peek at the under-18s, it has become a little bit of a dumping ground. There's lots of players who I've loaned out during the January who I couldn't sell. But additionally, there were some players here who were in this first team who had absolutely no right to be in the first team. And the big kind of takeaway from all of this is the squad is way more complete now. And I'm hoping we're not just going to be relying on Farl for goals. We're going to be able to really kick on, get some good results, win against Doncaster today. That's the dream. Let's get into this. We won our last game against Northampton. Can we keep the winning run of wins going? That's awful sentence. Right, let's get into this. A chance to move into the playoffs today, lads. We've drawn our last game. Our form's been a little hit and miss. Can it be hit and hit today? And hopefully our signings are going to make an impact as well. Of course, keep an eye out for Quansah. Also, keep an eye out for, us doing well. Quansah heads it away. Olamola, run. It's a good strategy. Look, we have quick players. I can just shout run at them and they do great. White bringing it forward. What can he do? He hits it. Not the best effort, but 2 minutes gone. We're on the attack already. Got to try and take some positivity from that. Richards now with a ball to whip in. Where's Quansah? Not there, unfortunately. I feel like after he's got 2 goals in 2 games, whilst I know what he's capable of, he's set an unrealistically high bar here. Farl is through. Farl has scored. Thomas as well with the assist, the loanee from Swansea. You know what? I've criticised him. I've said he's one-dimensional. I've said he's got awful mentals and he's just all about his speed. It turns out that all you need is speed. He's really, really good at finishing the ball, it turns out. I'll say as well, Cons, the centre-back with the ball forward then, was superb. The little header down was lovely. The finish wasn't too bad either. 7 minutes gone, we're a goal up against Donny. Let's hope that we can keep this going. Of course, Doncaster, a team who frequently kind of bounce between League One and League Two. They are a team that are constantly in and amongst the playoffs, and, that's where they currently reside. So a win here would be great. Richards whips in. Thomas heads just wide of the post. Richards is looking really good out on the left-hand side. I'm very happy with what he's contributed so far. Right, defending to be done here. They have a header. It's off the line by Ruffin. Oh, my word. I've actually seen, obviously, there's been an update to the match engine recently in Football Manager. Seen quite a lot of clearances off the line. Ruffin's done one there that was absolutely superb. 5 minutes till half-time. Not a whole host of chances, really, either way, but that won't bother us too much because we have the lead here. And, of course, this is our first time seeing our new stadium in 3D. Has anyone any opinions on it? It's not quite the car park, is it? It's not quite the car park. Also, I'm confused as to why Lincoln City seats are black. They should be red. Anyway, Thomas bringing the ball forward. Let's not criticise seat colours. We don't need to worry about that. All on his lonesome. Gets it inside to Farl, who goes for an effort. I respect it. White to Thomas, who tucks it away. It's offside. Stop celebrating, everyone. Jack, you got excited then. I feel like I've got well trained enough now to spot the offsides before I start celebrating. I'm going to be honest. I pumped my fist for that one. It was very, very close. But good to see Thomas getting in the right spaces there, getting into opportunities to score just like that one. This second half has got off to a fly. We've had a disallowed goal, straight into another highlight. Quansah, oh my word, the tackles are flying in. Addons, as I said, he had an awful game at right back last time out, and it's not really his natural position. So, bit under the microscope today. Putting a great tackle there, though. Thomas, Farl's in the middle. Thomas has gone on his own. You should... Bit greedy. Give it to Farl. He's got 20-something goals for the year. Give it to him, and then you can just walk. He'll run it in or something. White lumps it forward. They've got a 2-on-2 at the back, which, I don't know, with the pace that we have up top, feels like a risky game to play, dare I say, Doncaster. You're playing with fire. Oh my word, the ball by foul there to Thomas. Finish that. Puts it wide of the post. Really good link-up play, though. The advance forward and the pressing forward really working nicely together. I am actually going to make a change, and it might be a controversial one. I'm going to take off Finney, and I'm going to bring in YOLO, and I'm going to bring in Marky Cooper for Josh Thomas, who, I'm going to be honest, feels like he's on the verge of a goal, but I want to bring in the old Boston boys. The gang's getting back together. We'll have to see how they get on. Right now, their left-back is having an absolute mare of a game. Out on the right side, Olamola's just causing him all kinds of problems. Still, though, only a 1-goal margin. I was about to get shouty, but the highlight's begun. Fowler's hit the woodwork there. And it's going to be cleared away. Right, demand more. Let's see if we can get Cooper in on the action, or maybe YOLO playing deep line playmaker. Both players, of course, taking a big step up, leaving Boston to come to us. This is a different level of football they're expected to perform at. Still would really like that kind of cushion goal to go in at some point soon. Ball now with Ruffin at left back. Lumps it, put forward. Farl, run for it, mate. You can get to those if you try hard enough. Ball cleared away. Quansah reads it. Lumps it up to Cooper. He can't get there. Salisbury's there. Farl, hit that. Probably should have done a little bit better. You can see as well, players are tired. This kind of back-to-back games in the space of 3 days has hit us hard. Cooper, what can he do? Oh, what a ball. What a ball. And it would have been such a good goal. I was half expecting Cooper to go on his own there, but he kind of held it up and decided, no, you know what? I'm not going to use my 18 finishing. I'm going to pass it. I mean, ultimately it's finished 1-0, but we were in complete control there. Wow. That was really dominant, which is what we want to see against teams in the playoffs. We've kind of adapted our 4-4-2 system a little bit, tried to help it facilitate the players that we have. And I'll tell you what, with that result, we are into the playoffs, everyone. The board expectations are being fulfilled. And it's deadline day today. Is it today or tomorrow? I always get confused because although it is tomorrow. When deadline day is at midnight, it's a bit confusing because it'll show it as Wednesday, but it's actually midnight on Tuesday. You know what I'm saying, I think. Basically, if deadline day is at midnight, it would show on the Wednesday and you'd think, oh, I've got Wednesday to do stuff, but you haven't. Does that make sense? I might be just talking. I think you know what I'm trying to say. Basically, that we have actually got Wednesday to do stuff. So there is a day of the transfer window open. But to be honest, our current squad size is not, small by any means. We have got 2 spots open for registration and we are comfortably under the salary cap as well. But to be honest, where we're at right now, I don't really feel I need to sign anyone. I feel like I've addressed all the problem areas. And we have actually got a bit of a squad now. This isn't like a fragmented group of players. I've got the coverage everywhere I want it. And if things don't quite go to plan with our current system, we've certainly got the flexibility to change things up. Because as you can gather, a lot of players in our team can play a whole host of positions. And that is certainly a really useful thing to have when you're coming into a new club and kind of finding your groove and finding out how you want to play. But anyway, that's going to wrap things up from us today, I think. A great performance that sees us move into 6th place. I mean, we will try and target down Port Vale, but they've got plenty of games in hand. 14 games left of the season, lots of football still to be played. In terms of when we'll be back, I think I'm going to play it by ear, but we'll probably be back for a game at some point in March where we are going to have our youth intake, and we should be optimistic. I thought it was a golden generation. No, apparently not. We should be optimistic. Feel the optimism. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching, guys. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.